Could you still trust God when obeying Him seems like it can cost you absolutely everything? Well, that's the $1,000,000 question with today's reading, because we're going to see Abraham face a challenge that I'm not even for sure I would be able to handle. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Huddle. I'm Ty, and today we are reading through Genesis chapters 21 verses 8 through 34, Genesis chapter 22, chapter 23, circling back to chapter 11 verse 32, and then closing out with chapter 24.
Subscribe.
Now, right now we are going to see some strife in Abraham's house, and I think a lot of us had a feeling that this was going to come. Right, Ishmael is making fun of Isaac, and Sarah's like, I don't like that at all. So she goes over to Abraham, and she's like, yo, they need to go, right? Ishmael needs to go. Hagar needs to go. I don't want them in my house anymore. Abraham was like, yo, this is my people, right? This is his family. This is his son. He doesn't really know what to say, but God comes to Abraham, and he's like, honor your wife, right? Get Hagar out of here. She'll be okay. So Abraham, with his obedient self, does what he's supposed to do. Tells Hagar she has to go. Now, Hagar is kicked out, right? She is wandering. She doesn't know what to do until a certain point she breaks down, right? As any of us probably will. You are wandering through the wilderness. You have a son. You panic, and God comes to her, and he's like, yo, he comforts her and lets her know that many nations will come from Ishmael, and she'll be okay, right? She kept moving. She found some peace in that. Now, back in the village, King Abimelech is coming back over to Abraham to talk to him, right? He's trying to make sure this covenant is still good to go. Keep the peace. I don't want any trouble. Are we fine? Abraham's like, absolutely. He's like, hey, I don't want any of you or your descendants to ever deceive me again. And he's like, cool. But Abraham also let him know, like, yo, your people are tripping, right? They stole the well that is mine. I need that back. But now here's where it gets tricky, right? God comes to Abraham in a dream, and he's like, hey, I need you to go sacrifice your son. Now remember, this is his son, right? He just had him with Sarah. Abraham is old. And the text says, hey, Abraham got up and did it. So he got some men, got the wood, told his son, like, yo, we are getting up out of here. We going on a hike. They get a little bit further, and Abraham tells the two men, like, hey, stay here. He's like, Isaac, come on, man. We going up here to this mountain. So as they get closer, Isaac's probably getting nervous because he's like, Dad, I don't see no sheep. What's going on? And Abraham lets his son know, like, hey, God will provide. Now, the Bible doesn't give any context for this, but the next thing we know, Isaac is tied up. Hey, his dad is pulling a knife. He is about to sacrifice him. And as he's getting ready to stab, Angel's like, hold up. Don't do it. I don't know. God is like, yo, I was just testing you. Next thing we know, a ram comes out. I'm assuming, hey, he unties Isaac. They get the ram. They sacrifice that thing. God's promise is fulfilled. Now, because of this, God tells Abraham, hey, you will be blessed forever. Think about it. God told Abraham to sacrifice his son. And Abraham said, hey, I'm not even hesitating. I'm about to end this guy. And then life takes a turn, right? At 127 years young, Sarah passed away, and Abraham is looking for somewhere to bury his wife. So he goes to the Hittites and says, hey, can I buy some land? And after some back and forth about him getting this tomb that's at the end and a bunch of land, he buys it in front of an audience because he wants to feel like, I earned this, right? Like, I don't need a handout. Just let me buy it from you. Now, as Abraham is getting older, he made the head slave in charge promise him that he will never let his son marry a Canaanite woman, right? He wants him to go back to his hometown and help him find a wife for Isaac. So the slave was like, all right, cool. I'm going to take Isaac with me. Abraham was like, no, right? Promise me. Go out there. You're going to find the person. And if you can't find the person, I will let you go of this debt, right? You are good to go. You don't have to worry about it. Now, the message from God was that the slave would find the woman, right? She'd be helpful. He wouldn't have to look hard, so it'd be easy for him. Now, he's traveling, right? He's at the wells, and he sees a bunch of women coming down, and before you know it, Rebecca runs over to him. Yo, do you need some help? Do you need some water? She's super helpful. She even ran back to get some water for the camels, too. Look at that, right? Just as God said, here she is. Now, her brother saw what was going on. She ran down to greet the man, and invites him back to the house. He's like, yo, we have space for you. We got space for your camels. Come on, we got room. Now, before they eat, he's like, I need to tell you why they're here, like why I'm here. And he lets them know the whole spew, the whole vision that he had, how Rebecca met it. And I can't imagine sitting at the dinner and hearing that. Now, at first they're like, cool, but then they're like, yo, give us 10 days to get it together. And then if she wants to go, she can go. But the guy's like, absolutely not, right? Because remember, he's following what not just his master said, but what God's whole plan was. She has to go. They went back to ask her if she wanted to go. She said yes, and they left. And then as they're traveling back almost there, Isaac is in the field, looks up, and again, right, Rebecca had to be a baddie because he's like, oh my God, I need her. It says they got married, and remember, right, Sarah just died, so Rebecca's there to console Isaac through the death of his mother.
Like and subscribe.
Man, when I got finished with this, I really did question if you were laying down, right, and you had been praying for this son with your wife, and you were older, and when all else failed, you finally got him. Would I listen to God telling me immediately to go and sacrifice your son because God will provide? That level of faith, I'm in absolutely awe of, right? Because I feel like I've questioned things that God's want me to do, like this video series, right? I questioned just doing this, and it took me a minute to get it done. I could not imagine sacrificing my son, but that's what faith is all about, right? Our faith is literally a testament to how much we do trust God to provide any and everything that we need, and trust in His master plan. Because when we can't see all of it, He can, right? And essentially, like he got us. I think that we also seen strife in the house that eventually we had to know would come. It's like Sarah doesn't like this, right? Hagar has to go. And although Abraham was hesitant with that, again, we see Abraham trust God because he kicked Hagar out and she had to go. Abraham is really making me reevaluate my faith, because we see it countless times over and over again through these first 7 days of reading that my God didn't play about what God told him to do. When God told him to do something, he moved. There was no hesitation. It doesn't say that he double checked with God, like, God, are you sure? It doesn't say that he consulted his wife, like, hey, this is what God said. Should we do it? It said that God told him and he moved. And I am praying that I can be a living testament to that kind of faith, because I feel like not just for my own life, but when other people see that,
Like and subscribe.
They have no choice but to follow, because a lot of us, I think, are looking for a visual representation of what we should do sometimes, or we live in vicariously through somebody else because we do it with sin. What can we do with our faith as well? Just a powerful reading. I am curious though, for a lot of us, could you imagine your dad took you out and you thought that you were just going on a hike, or you were going to go sacrifice a sheep, and you're like, where's the sheep at? Not knowing that you were the sheep the whole time. Does that destroy some of the trust that you have with your dad? Because you're like, Dad, you're about to end me. What's up? What was that conversation like? I have no clue, but that is definitely something that I wonder. And maybe, I make it to heaven, I have a conversation with God, and he'll give me an answer. But in the meantime, I am sincerely hoping that my faith does grow. And the question for all of you is, where do you think you can strengthen your faith, right? And what's holding you back from it? And whatever that is, because we have to remember that God didn't give us the spirit of fear, doubt, worrying, right? Anything negative that can stop us is not of him. So let's all do a better job of moving in that faith and just trusting God. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 8.